You've probably heard of the Loch Ness Monster, but I'd be willing to bet that what you didn't know is that Nessie might have a Canadian cousin. Ogopogo is a legendary lake monster said to inhabit Okanagan Lake in British Columbia, Canada. Known as one of North America's most famous cryptids, Ogopogo has been part of Okanagan Lake folklore for centuries, capturing the imaginations of locals and visitors alike. So please, come with us as we take a look at this mysterious creature's description, the history of Ogopogo, and startling comparisons with the Loch Ness Monster. Let's start with Okanagan Lake, situated in the Okanagan Valley of British Columbia. It's a long and narrow deep body of water, stretching approximately 84 miles in length and between 2.5 and 3 miles wide. Plenty of room for a sea creature to stay hidden away from prying eyes. The lake is known for its picturesque scenery, featuring a mix of rugged mountains, lush vineyards, and vibrant communities along its shores. And it's also the primary reservoir and water source for the region. The lake's extensive size and depth provide an ideal setting for tales of a hidden, mysterious creature lurking beneath its surface. Ogopogo belongs to a class of creature called a cryptid. But what is a cryptid? Well, cryptids are animals or creatures whose existence is suggested based on anecdotal evidence and folklore, but lacks conclusive scientific proof. The study of such creatures is known as cryptozoology, and cryptids often occupy a grey area between mythology and science, captivating the public's imagination. Other well-known examples include the Yeti, Chupacabra, Loch Ness Monster, and Bigfoot. These entities often become part of the cultural and historical fabric of the regions where they are reported. But it's always worth remembering that everything is undiscovered until it's discovered. Ogopogo is typically described as a serpentine creature, often with multiple humps that rise above the water's surface, likened to the primitive whale such as Basilosaurus. Eyewitnesses estimate its length to be between 40 and 50 feet, so we are dealing with a pretty big creature here. Some accounts describe it as having a horse-like head, while others note a more reptilian or snake-like appearance. Its skin is frequently described as dark green, black or brown, slick and shiny, contributing to its snake-like appearance. So are these sightings a recent phenomenon? Or is there any backstory to Ogopogo? Let's take a look. The indigenous Syilx, or Okanagan People, have long told stories of a water spirit named Naha'atik, meaning spirit of the lake, or sacred one of the water. Sightings, you see, were reported long before the European settlers arrived at the Okanagan Valley in the early 19th century. The Naha'atik was mentioned in the oral traditions of the Syilx peoples, who inhabited the Okanagan Valley for centuries. According to legend, Naha'atik required live sacrifices to be made to ensure safe passage across the lake. So these First Nations would sacrifice small animals before entering the water. One of the earliest written mentions of the creature by a European settler was around 1855. At that time, a John MacDougall was crossing the lake with his horses tied behind his canoe, when suddenly, a serpent-like creature pulled his horses under the water. In order to survive, he had to cut the horses free. European settlers later adapted these legends told by the Okanagan people, coining the name Ogopogo in the early 20th century. The creature's name is thought to have been derived from a popular English music hall song called the Ogopogo, or the Funny Foxtrot. So it seems as if the story of Ogopogo might have been around for a while. Over the years, there have been hundreds of eyewitness reports. While some have been revealed as hoaxes and others debunked as misidentifications, a number of reports remain inconclusive, leaving open the possibility of actual sightings and continuing to fuel intrigue about the lake monster. In 1968, Art Folden captured what is considered one of the best pieces of evidence of Ogopogo. Folden filmed a large moving object creating a wake in the lake. Subsequent analysis of the film suggests that what he filmed was indeed a real animal, rather than a wave or floating log. But what animal is the question. In 2011, a video taken by Richard Hull surfaced, showing two dark shapes in the lake. The footage reignited interest and debate. Investigations concluded that the video depicted two shorter objects side by side, without humps or heads. just dark, straight forms. Some suggested these were likely a pair of logs floating in the water, as Lake Okanagan contains tens of thousands of logs harvested by the timber industry. But in 2018, a local resident, Beth Bednar, reported seeing a long snake-like creature in the lake while on a boat tour. This sighting added to the ongoing fascination with the legendary creature. So what could explain the reason for these sightings of Ogopogo if Ogopogo didn't exist? Misidentifications. Many sightings could be attributed to misidentified animals, such as otters, which can swim in a line, creating the illusion of a single long creature, or a sturgeon which can grow up to 6 meters in length, which feed from the bottom of the lake, rarely coming to the surface, so when they do, people treat it as the monster sighting. Floating logs. The long dark shapes often reported could be large logs or debris floating in the water, particularly during certain weather conditions that can create waves and wakes mimicking a moving creature. Seismic activity. Okanagan Lake is located in a seismically active region. Earthquakes or underwater volcanic activity could create unusual movements in the water that are mistaken for a living creature. And finally, psychological phenomenon. The power of suggestion and mass hysteria could play significant roles in eyewitness reports. When people are predisposed to seeing a legendary creature, their minds might interpret mundane sights as the monster. As usual when it comes to cryptids, there are those who believe and those who will never believe until they see it with their own eyes. Both Ogopogo and the Loch Ness Monster in Scotland, often called Nessie, are described as large, serpentine creatures, with possible humps that rise above the water's surface. They are often depicted as having long necks and small heads, though specific descriptions for the two lake monsters vary. The similarities in their appearances contribute to the frequent comparisons between the two. Could it be possible they are of the same species? Okanagan Lake and Loch Ness share several characteristics that make them conducive to tales of mysterious creatures. Both lakes are large and deep, providing ample space for a creature to hide. Both lakes are situated in regions with temperate climates, contributing to similar aquatic environments. Both Ogopogo and Nessie have been the subject of numerous sightings and media reports over the years, increasing tourism which sustains the local economy and keeps interest in the legends alive. So it is possible that the locals make sure the legend lives on to keep the money from tourism flowing into the area. But this cannot be proven one way or another. The legend of Ogopogo is a captivating blend of indigenous folklore, historical accounts, and modern-day sightings. Whether viewed as a cryptid, a misunderstood natural phenomenon, or a cultural symbol, Ogopogo continues to intrigue and inspire. Given the size of the lake, it's entirely possible that something could go undetected. Though, over the centuries, you would expect to have found some evidence, from clearer imagery given improvements in technology to bones being washed up on the shores. Despite this, the mystery surrounding this legendary creature keeps the legend alive, drawing researchers, enthusiasts, and curious onlookers to the shores of Okanagan Lake in search of the truth. As we navigate the realms of myth and science in our lives, let us remain open-minded to the possibility of new discoveries, for it is this open-mindedness that keeps the magic alive. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, we thank you for watching.